Welcome to the inaugural episode of Identified. I'm Nabil Ayers, author, music executive, and your host as we delve deep into the complex world of family and identity. When I published my memoir, My Life in the Sunshine, in 2022, I embarked on a global book tour, exploring the themes of my book, family and identity. Along the way, I encountered distant family friends, newfound blood relatives, and individuals who, though unrelated by blood, felt like family. These encounters sparked a profound question. What truly defines family? The conversations I had during my book tour, often fleeting but rich with meaning, became the foundation of this podcast. As the tour concluded, I felt a persistent desire to continue exploring stories of family, shifting the focus from my own experiences to those of others. On Identified, we'll engage with authors, musicians, and people from a diversity of backgrounds to unravel what family means to them. One guest will describe the impact of discovering his more than 20 siblings. Another guest will walk us through the feeling of playing music with her rock star father for the very first time. And we'll learn how an ancestor's resolve during the Civil War helped one guest overcome a drug habit. But before we delve into these narratives, it's fitting to start with a crucial bridge from my book to this podcast. For much of my life, I grappled with the mystery of my own lineage. I've never known my father, the jazz musician Roy Ayers, but I always assumed that our Black American heritage was rooted in the legacy of slavery. After decades of speculation, I finally uncovered my family tree, confirming my assumptions. In my memoir, I recount a pivotal exchange with Kieron, a living descendant of Augustus Ayers, the enslaver of my ancestors in 19th century Mississippi. What began as a simple email to Kieron unfolded into a profound, years-long correspondence, revealing shared aspects of our past. I always assumed that our bloodlines crossed at some point a long time ago, and that Kieron and I are related. Whether or not we're related, Kieron and I have embraced our kinship, and she feels like part of my family. In October 2023, in Austin, Texas, I finally met Kieron and her husband Larry for the first time, face to face.
There's the knock at the door. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Hi.
You are tall.
You look just like your picture. You come with a book.
I did.
Larry, great to meet you. Come on in. This is so great. Your voice sounds... That's what I've been wondering more than anything is what your
my voice,
sound
I already
like.
knew what yours because I listened to your
It's
podcast.
unfair. Yeah,
it
But
is
you
unfair.
sound a lot like I thought you'd sound. I
Good.
Part of me thought like, well, what if she has this crazy different voice? But
It's just me. It's just a me voice.
I've never known my father and knew I wasn't going to get any more information from him about my ancestors and all that stuff. He's still alive, and so I decided to do 23andMe to just kind of see where it went, to see if something happened. And sure enough, the information from 23andMe wasn't that revealing, didn't tell me anything new, but this cousin reached out and said, I have an Ayers family tree you might want to see. And he sent it to me, and it's this incredible document from 1963 that goes back to my first enslaved ancestor in 1824 in Alabama. And this is on email, but still I'm like acting like I'm reading it.
Yeah.
And it's just fascinating because I never knew any of this. And so I try to research him more, the first ancestor, Isaac Ayers, and kind of can't get anywhere. But it says that he's owned by Dr. Ayers of Ashland, Mississippi. So when I start looking at that, it was actually pretty quick. I just ended up in some old book. It was a very small town at the time, 180 people. I find a Dr. Ayers who's the right age. Like all of it is just like, could it be this easy?
Yeah.
And then I end up in that site, findagrave.com. And there's a message from you that says something, bless our ancestors. And I remember looking and seeing Kieron Ayers, the same name as I have, leaving a message for this person. Is she related to him? And am I related to both of them? That was my first thought. And it was a crazy thing to go from, in half an hour to getting this family tree to suddenly being there. It's really a lot. And your email was there, which was the even crazier thing. So that was the thing that was like, wow. I'm about to email this person who doesn't know me, who surely doesn't want to hear from me. I know about these stories. People expect reparations, money, whatever. Maybe they're afraid of violence, retribution, anything. All totally reasonable, but I'm just going to send an email and be honest. And I think I said, this is my story. I'm not looking for anything. I don't hold anything against you. You didn't do anything. I'm really just looking for information on my family. What I don't know, because we've never actually spoken, I'm curious what it was like when you got that email. Do you remember actually receiving it?
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's like somebody's talking to me about this part of my family, and there was no one that was really interested in that part, and it's sort of a sketchy, scary kind of situation to talk. You don't want to talk about slavery and that your ancestors. And when you talked, I looked back over some old emails from a while back, some of the first ones, when you said you were like, is she going to answer me? Is she not going to answer? Is she going to,
Right.
And then I never gave any of it a thought until today. And I went, I'm going to a book signing. What if they don't like me?
Oh, interesting. But I will say it was important to me because it's true, but you've come out of it, I think, in a very positive light, meaning when I talk about it, when people read about it, you haven't done anything wrong. All you've done is given me information and connected, which I think is what most people don't do. So you replied to me.
Yeah.
You got the email, and I think you emailed back, maybe it was the same night or the next morning, but very quickly. I was not expecting it, and it was this very welcoming, open, friendly email where you kind of just said, this is great. I would love to help. In fact, I'm a hobby genealogist. What could have been better for me than to get that kind of response?
Yeah.
And then we just started this crazy email dialogue, which to me was sort of in almost different things. Some of it was about very intense history that we likely share and slavery and real things. But what was really fun was the balance of you describing the pizza you made for Larry that night. It was always this kind of very casual sign off. And so I felt like we were really getting to know each other in a very specific, different way. And during a lot of that time, I wanted to talk to you. And I'm sure either of us obviously could have picked up the phone or the Zoom or whatever. But there's something about the kind of communication we had that maybe the pace was sort of, it felt right because it was slower and not instantly everything you want. Maybe?
Yeah, I thought it was good. In fact, at the last minute here, I was thinking, dang, do I want to call him? He's busy. We just wait because it's all going to be worth it.
Right. And great.
So you don't have a lot of close family?
Well, I do on my mother's side.
Okay.
I have a lot of close family. I'm very close with my mother and her brother, my uncle, who's essentially my father figure. Yeah. And then on my mother's side, I knew my grandparents till I was well into my 20s. I knew my great-grandparents till I was probably 10 years old. And I know lots and lots of cousins, people who aren't maybe super close, but dozens of people on my mother's side.
You're starting to grab a few here and there, aren't you?
And so what's crazy now is really thanks to all this. More than anything, these little dominoes fell. I did 23andMe, got that family tree, got in touch with you, but really the most important part was writing about it, and then when that piece got published with NPR, where I kind of told the story, that really spread, and that's what, some cousins on my father's side read that, and that's how they got in touch with me. That's how I know so many of the people that have been sort of coming in, and now of course the book is helping more, but before the book, that article in particular led me to, my father's sister, my aunt, who I didn't realize was still alive, and suddenly I'm with her, linked arms at a cemetery, and she's introducing me to her dead parents, my grandparents. This is all because of this. And where the book kind of ends is not with a definite answer, but maybe to me sort of questions, which is kind of, what is family? Is my father, who of course technically produced me and maybe gave me some musical talent, certainly even gave me just by existing, I think, the thought that, he's a musician, so I could probably be a musician. I think I got a lot of good things from him. But is he my family? When he won't call me back, or when, he won't give me this really important information, some of which he has about other family members. And then on the complete opposite of the spectrum, there's you, who we might be related, we might not, but I'm not really sure that matters. It's the idea that we sort of have this exchange that we agree upon. Yeah. If we were to do a DNA test, what would it mean to you if somehow we weren't related by blood?
I don't think it makes a difference.
Yeah.
it's fun, and I think we have a rapport, and we definitely have something in common, and so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is, even if we do, and I mean this in a positive way, if we are related by blood, that doesn't necessarily make anything even more powerful for me. It's not like, I knew it. It's just kind of like, yeah, cool. That's kind of, we thought that might be a possibility.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, this is so crazy. I can't believe I'm actually sitting with you.
After all this time?
It's wild.
I just thought too, because we talked about doing swab the mouth thing.
DNA
yeah,
test.
let's do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh,
yeah.
man, okay.
Yeah. Just for grins.
I mean, here the question that's in my head, and I talk about this
is
in
it
the
or
book,
is it
like,
not?
well, no, the question that's more in my head, and this has happened so much since I've been doing book touring and people ask questions about you and our relationship and everything. My question is more not are we related or not, but what does it mean if we are? What does it mean if we aren't? And does it matter either way? That's what goes through my head.
It doesn't matter.
I'm fascinated by my relationship with Kieron. Her ancestors likely enslaved mine, and now, a century and a half later, we're sharing stories and laughing together in an Austin hotel room. We still don't know if we're actually related, but clearly we both agree that we're family. My book tour brought me from New York to Tokyo, Cleveland to Helsinki, and in those cities I met dozens of people with whom I felt a strong connection. Some were cousins or even siblings. Others were former bandmates of my father's. Each of these encounters, whether with long-lost relatives or newfound kindred spirits, has deepened my understanding of what it means to belong. Identified is a platform to explore the many facets of family, shifting the focus from my personal narrative to the collective experiences of those I've met along the way. As we delve into tales of reconciliation, grief, and revelation, I invite you to join me in pondering the profound question: what truly defines family? Subscribe to Identified wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. And be sure to check out Identified on YouTube and identifiedpod.com, where you can watch videos from our interviews. Our executive producer is Kieron Banerji, and the show is produced by Palm Tree Island. The music for Identified is by Noella and Patricia Brennan. I'm Nabil Ayers. Thanks for tuning in.